Okay, so welcome back here, and I've gotten done with all of the deglossing of all the cabinets here. So now what we are ready to do is paint. So I have the paint here. This is the Benjamin Moore Regal Select, and it's a pearl finish. And a pearl finish works great on cabinets. It's not as shiny as a semi-gloss, and it cuts down in the appearance of the brush marks or like the roller marks. So that's the paint right here. The color is sweet rosy brown, and again it's in a pearl finish. This right here is called floetrol. It's a latex paint additive. What I like to add some of this into the paint, especially when you do cabinets, because what this stuff does is it's a conditioner, and it cuts down on the friction. Now remember, after we degloss this, there's a lot of friction now. So this is a conditioner, and when it's added to the paint, it helps the paint flow better, and it also helps the paint level out too when it's drying, which eliminates the brush marks or the roller marks. So this stuff is great here for all that, and just makes painting a lot easier. So it's going to extend the drying time, which is what you want, because you have to cut in first, then you have to go up here and then down here. And if it's a hot day, when you start to cut in here, this may start to dry when you come back into it, and then it disrupts the consistency of the sheen and whatnot. So it's always a good idea to add some of this when you're painting trim or cabinets. And here I have my 1-inch Corona brush. Here I have my 2.5-inch Corona brush, and this is my duster here. This is my roller here that I'm going to use to roll out. This roller is a 1/4-inch nap, so it's not going to leave a heavy texture. And you can use this for either oil or latex paints. I'm using it for a latex, and as you can see, it's really soft, and it's not going to leave a heavy nap, and it's going to leave a smooth finish, and you're not going to see all the brush strokes. And when you use a roller, when it dries, the sheen dries to a uniform sheen consistency. Because when you roll it out, then you let it dry, and it dries all at the same time, where if you use just a brush and then you go back into it, so it's always a good idea to use a roller. Some people just prefer to use the brush, so you can do it either way here. And lastly, this is my 5-in-1. This is going to help me open up this paint can here. Now whenever you start off, you always want to use a 5-in-1 to open it up here, and you just do it like that. And this is the paint color here. And when you stir up a new gallon, when you're near the sink area, it always helps to wet the stick first. Okay, that's going to make the paint not stick to the stick here, and it's just going to come off a lot easier here. And what I like to do is turn the water to hot too, because when you go to clean it off, it'll come off much easier than if you just use cold water. So we're just going to give this a little stir. They just mix this up, so I don't have to do a lot here. But you always want to make sure just to give it a final stir, because sometimes it doesn't mix right in the mixers. So, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 2.5-inch brush here and come down and drag it against the inside of that. I'm going to turn this around here, go down with it, drag it along there, hit the sides, hit this side again, hit that side. Now I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to put it under the hot water. And it's just all going to come off. And I have it pointed so it goes right down the drain, so it won't like stain the sink or get on the sides. But whenever you start off, you always want to wet down the interior sides of the sink. And again, this is latex paint, and it's safe to put down the drain. So now my paint stick is clean. I don't gotta worry about putting it down and getting paint all over the place there. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna pour some of this paint in out of here. Now you don't want to pour a lot because then it's gonna get all over your brush and stuff. So I'm just gonna pour probably like a few inches worth there. And now I'm just going to use my brush here to gather up the paint from the sides. And then once I have it like that, then I'll take it and do that. And that's going to get rid of the paint that is in this area here. Because you don't want to leave that paint in there or else you'll never be able to put the lid on again. So we're just going to put this right over here. Okay, put this over there. And now what we're going to do, I'm going to put this right there, is we're going to add some of the floetrol here. Now make sure that you give this a good shake before, because you have to shake it up and you just push down and turn. Now I just like to add just like a little bit, and you can see how it's white in color here. So this stick is already wet here, and as you can see it in there, I'm just going to stir this up here, and you can see how it's white. But this, it says that it does not change the color of the paint, and now all the whiteness is gone and it's that color that we originated with here. So I have my paint conditioner stirred in there now, and now we're going to go back to the sink, and I'm going to turn it on hot and keep it in the middle so it just goes right down the drain there. Okay, so my paint stick is cleaned off, and again, I don't have to worry about setting it down and getting paint all over the place. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my 2.5 inch brush here. Now, since I'm gonna paint these by just leaving them up, you're just gonna want to do like one side at a time. Or what you can do is you can take these off and do them on like a sawhorse, whatever, which way you want. But I'm just gonna do it like this here, and it's important to also take off any of the hardware, like the knobs and stuff like that. But there aren't any here. So with my 2.5 inch brush here, and my roller here, I'm just gonna load up the roller just like that on like the inside of my bucket there. Okay, and I'm just gonna let this sit here. And then I'm just going to put this right over here. And now I'm going to pull my drop cloth over so we can protect the countertops. Now, this is just a piece of plastic that I like to use when I roll here, so I don't have to leave it on there. So I'm just going to put this here and put that there. Okay, so I'm just going to load up just like a little bit onto the brush there, and we're going to start by coming up here. Now I'm just going to do the outside here. I'm not going to paint this side right here or this side because I want to be able to grab the door. So I'm just going to start up here and use the brush first to work the paint into these edges here. So again, this is a 2.5 inch brush, and this is a great brush for this job because I can effectively get in to all the corners there. So I have it like that there, and now I'm going to pull this one down here. Okay, for this side right here, what I'll do is just this right here. So by doing this, I won't get paint onto this side right here. Okay, so I'm going towards it, but that edge there is going to help me stop. So once I have like that, then I'll come down and feather it down once and then go up and into it. And then feather that off there, feather that inside off there. So now I'm going to come around here. Now this paint does not require a primer. Some of the more bluer reds, they will require a primer, but this red is towards the softer or browner shade of the spectrum. So if you're going with a red, especially on top of a previously white surface, you may need to prime gray first, but with this paint you don't. So I'm just going to feather that off there, and I want to come down here. Okay, and take care of that. Now with my hands, I'm going to come into it just like that there. And again, this is going to do exactly what I did on that side without getting the paint on the back side of this. And I'll show you in a second. So we'll fan that off there, fan that off there, and I'll open it up. And you can see that I didn't get any on the underside there. So I'm going to shut this now. And with my roller here, I'm going to put my paintbrush down here. With my roller here, the paint has started to absorb into the roller, so that's what I want. I'm going to load this up here and just do it like that. Now there are grooves that are in this to resemble the grooves of the oak. So. And this is a 1/4 inch nap, so you may have a problem on if like the grooves are deeper, then you may just want to just use your brush first to brush it into all the grooves. Okay, just like that. So now you're assured that it went in there. Okay, and now use your roller to effectively just go over it and make a smooth surface, and by going up and down, up and down. And as you can see, it's going to leave a thin layer of paint, a little bit more than a brush could. So that's going to take care of that, and we're just going to let this dry. Now always go back and look at your work, especially in like the corners, if there's any drips. There's not a drip here, but here, I'll just show you right here. This is how it looks right here. Okay, and if there was like a drip in the corner, like right there, then I would come into the, I would form the brush, because this comes to a 45 right here, so I would form the brush on a 45 and just go into it just like that, and that's gonna fan it out there, and then do it like that and come up with there. So that's gonna get rid of any drip marks. So just go around to all 4 of the corners, and there may be like an area that you missed, and you can just use the brush to lightly touch it up, okay? Because again, this is gonna get 2 coats, and you kind of want to get full coverage. So you want to try to cover as much of the surface as possible without this brownish red paint here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move on and paint another face. I'm gonna paint all the faces, and then this should be dry enough to touch in like an hour, and then what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll paint the insides of them, and then I'll use my 1-inch brush to effectively get into the corners and around the hinges. So that's it for now.